Atlanta Motor Speedway used to be home to NASCAR's season finale, and while tonight will be the end of the road for many championship hopefuls, it's not quite the end of the season. For 12 drivers, they'll be celebrating a chance to run for the championship. For everyone else, it's over after tonight. It's a return to the South, back to NASCAR's roots, and it's time to go racing from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Welcome to Sim TV. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined tonight by Liam Sheen as we prepare for our 12th round and final round of the regular season for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. Practice almost complete here, Liam. Welcome back to the booth. Hot and slick. This place is always slippery and a challenge for everybody, especially with oversteer or understeer, depending on the way the cars are set up. But tonight, 130 laps to round out our regular season, and 12 drivers will move on to the chase.
Yeah, this is a great place to cap it off. One of the most challenging tracks on the iRacing surface, especially with these B cars with the lower downforce compared to the Cup and Truck counterparts to this car. It'll certainly be a fun race to watch. See who can come up on top on tire saving, as you see Michael Stroll atop the board in practice. Really great qualifying effort for him. He's had a really great season so far. We're going to see if he can cap it off the regular season with a win.
Well, we're talking about the Fuel Finals that are coming up. That will be the tail end of the season. And if you're curious about what that will hold for us, it'll all begin at Lucas Oil Raceway Park next week. Then we'll head off to Michigan, Bristol, and Texas to finish out the season. The format is as follows. The eligibility for the Fuel Finals, the top 10 drivers in points through the regular season, and the two highest-ranked race winners outside of the top 10 in points, provided they have attempted more than 80% of the regular season events. And this is the way I always thought the chase should be run, Liam, so excited that it's that way. Of course, as we head into the Fuel Finals, we're going to eliminate drivers as we continue. So 12 drivers will start, and 4 drivers will battle it out for the end of the season championship. The 2 lowest ranked drivers after a races 11 through 14 will be eliminated. So everyone will start with a base of 2,500 points, and they will accumulate them as they continue through the rest of the season. Liam, these knockout formats always are tense moments for everybody, but I think for the drivers that are most concerned, the drivers on the bubble in the points, those would be the drivers on the outside looking in. Colin Fambro is just outside, 9 points back from Casey Lakatos, and Mitchell Welker's out there as well, and Nick Delicato is here tonight. He is also on the bubble. So for some drivers, there's a lot on the line, especially if you have not won a race, which Nick Delicato has done. So he right now is one of those drivers on the outside looking in, as is Byron Daly in 16th in the points. So those are our championship competitors outside the top 10 that are looking for a chance to get in, Liam. But points racing on our minds tonight, but first you got to qualify.
Yeah, and I believe that we've been talking about, throughout the last few seasons that Nick Delicato has not made the start, but he's been here in the grid, and I think now that explains it, why he's doing this. He's showing up to the race to get the start log, and then he'll have that wild card spot, especially with that win at Kentucky, that dominating win, I might add. But, you have guys like, Mitch Welker, who haven't had good starts to the season, and it's kind of carried them all the way through here. And we saw him have probably a make-or-break race at Road America with his one and only shot to win, and he just couldn't get it done because Riley Thompson, Zach Buchanan put on a great show up front, and they're just in a whole different zip code from Mitch Welker.
So Mitch Welker, one of the drivers that is on the bubble here tonight as he comes in. So that number 76, this will be a very important race for him. We already mentioned Riley Thompson. He, coming off his win at Road America, is in a pretty good spot. But we also talked about Nick Delicato. Now, I think he'll race tonight. I think, I would be surprised if he didn't. I mean, why wouldn't you? I think he's going to feel pretty good. The only other driver that's in the top 20 in points that would even be eligible would be Nicholas Johnson, but with his departure from the series, he will no longer be eligible. So Nick Delicato just showing up for, showing up for the last place points, as you mentioned. He doesn't really have to race tonight, but starting in the Fuel Finals next week at Lucas Oil Raceway Park, he will have to be up there and competing if he wants a championship.
Yeah, and Delicato has a lot of good racetracks coming up on the schedule. I'm sure there's a lot of Nick Delicato fans in the chat watching him, cheering him on. But he has a lot of good racetracks coming up in the Fuel Finals. He's maybe just practicing up for those and chase up for a championship, as we see Casey Shue, one of the guys that hasn't had a really good season so far this year. I don't believe he would be eligible through a win and in situation. I don't think he's completed the quota of starts that's required to get into that eligibility. But Casey Shue, this season's been a lot more to desire for this number 14. Certainly looking for more.
So Nick and Delicato are hearing that he didn't make the actual start, so you have to actually start the race at Road America, and he didn't, so he didn't get those points. And also a correction, I think I'm looking at an old rule book in terms of how the playoffs work here, so no elimination, so you're just going to run out to the end of the season on points alone. So that will change things just a little bit. Will Roberts out on the racetrack now. So is Finian D'Acunha. He's waiting in pit lane to get rolling here. Might wait towards the tail end of the session or start from the back. He jumped in here earlier to express concerns about how the car was handling. I guess we'll get to watch him. I think Road America was a race that he probably should have finished a little bit better based on pace. Just didn't have the consistency. We'll see how he does tonight in the hot and slick banks of Atlanta Motor Speedway. And looking at the weather, we looked at it briefly a few moments ago. Track temp 90 degrees. That's actually relatively cool for Atlanta, but again, it's going to be a temperature that drivers will be fighting all night long, especially once we start laying down rubber on the racetrack.
Yeah, we saw earlier. I think I was in the booth for the last season's race or watched it. I'm not too sure on the whole situation back then, but I believe that there was a very early incident with just a clean track and cold tires, and that just caused people to be over aggressive early on, and it caused a huge wreck, taking out some contenders for the win. But never know what could happen here as we see Will Roberts spin around. That can easily happen on the first lap of the race. You can have a car lose the control of the car, especially with this hot and slick track. Not too hot, but for Atlanta standards, it's always any degree of temperature, you're certainly feeling it in the race car.
Yeah, especially with the humidity, as it always is here in the American South. Thomas Bressi goes to the top of the board by 0.08 of a second over Colin Fambro in the number 5, so move the 24 to the pole position. I think this will be a good race for Bressi tonight. I think he's in a prime position to compete for this championship. As we look at the points coming in, he is only 26 back from Shane Terry, and so the goal for Thomas Bressi is just to get those oval finishes back where they need to be. No more road courses. We're done road racing for the season, so he has none of those to fall back on. He's got to figure it out here at the banks for the rest of the year. Michael Skinner out on the racetrack. Looks like we'll have about 10 drivers not qualify here as the checkered flag falls. It'll be Bressi on pole as we get prepared to go racing from Atlanta. And welcome back to Sim TV. My name is Kyle Heyer, joined by Liam Sheen, and we're ready to go. 130 laps, Liam. What's the plan for tonight if you're starting out back?
Well, if I'm at the back, I'm waiting for maybe a little bit of early race attrition. You never know what can happen in these opening laps. And, you see in, Erskine races and three-wide races and all those other races at Atlanta that have run with this car in the past. The cars really, they kind of take it easy on the early runs. They don't push for it, and that could be a little bit of a false opportunity for drivers to go fast and blow by and only to be caught a few laps later. So tire saving is what's going to be the key for these guys that are in the back half of the field. But I'm pretty sure they're being a little bit wary of their competitors around them to not be involved in an early wreck.
Let's have a look through our starting lineup. Let's start on row 1, and we'll go on backwards. On the front row tonight, Thomas Bressi in the 24, Colin Fambro in the number 5.
And in row number 2, you got Hayden Pistorius with a great third-place qualifying effort, starting next to Bronson Stafford. That's a new name, I believe. I haven't seen it before.
He's been around, so we'll move on back to row number 3. Shane Terrian in the 83 car starts in 5th. Current points leader Brian Chambliss starts in 25 car in 6th.
And you got Tyler Hensley in the 44 and 7th, and Michael Stroll in an 8th-place qualifying effort with the 8.
9th place, Mitch Welker had a decent run at Road America. Looks for another one here today at Atlanta. RJ Root starts 10th in the 29 car.
And Christian Gritzko in the 91 car is going to be 11th, and Chad Simpson, who won Daytona, is in 12th in the 42.
Mike Hurley starts in 13th in the number 32, and Casey Lakatos starts in 14th in the number 50. On the outside he's on the inside looking out right now. You see Casey Shue and Nick Delicato. He has not taken the grid once again as we roll through the rest of the order here on the bottom of the screen, Liam. So for Nick Delicato, he will not get points if he does not start this race.
Yeah, everybody else on the bottom of the screen sorted by iRating, but if he doesn't get points, if he doesn't start the race, I'm not sure if the start is counted, but he will not exit the race with points. And I don't believe you have to care about that if you have the win to fall back on, and you have all those starts required. You don't need to have a bunch of points. You can just show up, take the night off, and show up strong at the playoffs.
So the pace lap begins here. We'll double up. Looks like Thomas Bressi will choose the inside of the front row here for this initial start. Multi-groove is always something we talk about every time we come to Atlanta Motor Speedway. How do we think these lines are going to progress? We heard Finney DeCuna tell us pre-race that the bottom of the racetrack was really difficult to keep the car down there. So do you think we'll see drivers migrate up to the high side by the end of the race?
I believe it's going to be all about the arc you take in 1 and 2. In 3 and 4, you know, you can sort of get away with a little bit of an early attack to the throttle, but in 1 and 2, it's all going to be about the arc. How you discipline yourself with that arc. You don't want to attack cars too early to burn up your tires later. So this is one of the hardest track to save tires at. I don't believe, you know, we can see cars running the middle or the high line, but I believe whoever can get their car to stick on the bottom line the longest will be the winner.
Mission 22 Premier Series is about to begin its final race of the regular season as we roll through turns 3 and 4. It's time to go racing from Atlanta. 130 laps on a hot, slick racetrack just outside the city in the south. Here we go. Field coming out of turn number 4. Pace car to make the hard left turn onto pit lane. About an hour worth of racing on a Tuesday night. Green flag flies and we're racing from Atlanta. Clean getaway for the race leader as we head down the back straightaway. And in behind, there's a little bit of a battle going on. Shane Terrian and Bronson Stafford side by side for 6th. The 44 of Tyler Hensley right in front of RJ Root and Mitch Welker. And we're keeping an eye on that 76 car to see if he can climb up inside the top 10 or maybe even the top 5 today as Bressi leads lap 1.
Big gap of cars going for position pretty early here. I hope that 83 car can get this pass done early so he can get going and not burn up too much tire trying to get by one spot on lap 1 of the race. As you see Mike Hurley all the way against the wall, that can't be good for his tires at all.
No, and maybe it's a little bit early to be running that close to the fence, but dropping backwards he is so far. Chad Simpson, the Daytona winner on the bottom of the racetrack underneath the 76. This is for 10th position and move that car up. Shane Terrian now going after Michael Stroll. Up the road, though, Hayden Pistorius and Colin Fambro going at it for 2nd place.
Yeah, Hayden Pistorius has had a great season so far this year. Big rebound from last season after missing the chase. He's having a great return to fruition here as he's going to get by this 5 car just barely. He's going to clear right in front of him, and he's going to set his sights on the 24.
Off into turn number 3, rumbling by the cameras. You see the 5 car, Colin Fambro, going to give the Pistorius a spot for now. On the outside is the 8 car and the 83. They're going to go at it again. The 83 of Shane Terrian has had a ridiculously consistent season. That's what's put him in this spot. As you see the 44 and the 61 of Bronson Stafford going after it. And both lanes, both bottom and the middle groove, seem to be working out pretty well. Maybe not the high side is worked in, obviously not yet, but the middle groove looks okay even after the initial start.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're gotta wonder if that's like organically the track, or if that's, you know, people using their tires a little bit more on the high side.
Oh, spinner behind him. Christian Gritz goes sideways. That's going to put Travis McQuistion out of line for just a moment. They get it back corrected, but a tense moment there as they exit turn 4.
Yeah, great job by Travis McQuistion for letting him catch it there. As Riley Thompson's looking 4 wide.
There goes Gritzko.
No.
Can he hang on to it for a 2nd time? He will. Getting ping-ponged around there like a basketball, but he'll gather it back up and continue. He's going to get split 3 wide here again on the straightaway. Sometimes you just kind of, sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball, and he's been the ball so far today. Up at the front, Pistorius is about to chase down Bressi for that race lead.
Yeah, and if you're the 24, you may be thinking, just let this 9 go and save your tires a little bit and try to run them back down, as we saw last season. Nick Johnson, he got passed early, but then he ran it right back down and dominated the race. So Hayden Pistorius trying to get by this 24 car to get that lap-led bonus point.
Getting really dicey here in the bottom half of the top 10 as Pistorius is going to look up underneath the 24 into turn number 3. He's going to go for the top spot into the corner, and he will clear the 24 by the time they get to the middle of it. So a good run there for the number 9 of Pistorius. Bressi will try to respond. I'm not sure he's going to get the run to do it. Look at them double stacked up behind like we're racing at Talladega right now.
Yeah, you just got to be wary on those tires there for those guys on the outside. You got to get by these guys really quickly. You can take that wider arc to get a good run off the corner, and you have to make it happen early. But Thomas Bressi using that high line now to try to get by this 9 car. He's going to try to get it clear going into turn 3. And Hayden Pistorius maybe going to back off. No, he'll still stay side by side with that 24 car.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because I feel like the good in those tires might have burned off a little bit early as they come out of turn number 4. Brycey's still able to hold alongside the number 9 of Hayden Pistorius. Cross the line that time, that was awful close. Couldn't see who led that lap. Brian Chambliss in behind, going deep into the corner alongside the 5. But for the race lead, they are dead even as they come out of turn 2.
Yeah, they're dead even. I think that 24 is going to get it here, but you gotta get by him quickly if you're Thomas Bressi, because that 83 is licking his chops right now behind him.
Yeah, Shane Terrian is coming. Last time by was quicker than both the drivers in front of him by a couple hundredths of a second. They're going to come out of turn 4 again, double stacked up from 4th on back. For the race lead, Pistorius is losing this battle on the bottom, and he will have to give way. Bressi leads the way into turn 1 clear this time.
Bressi gets right back by him, but you don't know if that 9's going to make another charge at him. We saw him run down the 24 early in the race. We're going to see if he can try to get a charge mounted on the back straightaway, and he gets closer to him, but it's not going to be up to make a charge for the spot.
Vanbrugh almost leaned on the side of the 61 of Bronson Stafford into turn number 3, so we're getting elbows out just a little bit here as we roll through turn number 4. And RJ Root back there in the number 29, he was saying he'd love to have a good run or even a win here at Atlanta tonight. We'll see if he can parlay a 7th place run a little bit higher up the road. Let's see if he can get himself up there. For the top spot, though, it's dead even with the top 3 right now as they come out of turn 2. Look at the battle for 5th place. Stafford and Colin Famber going at it, and now Terrian for 2nd.
Yeah, Shane Terrian going to go to the inside. He just came off a championship in another league, so he has that confidence boosting him as he's going to go to the inside of the 9. He's going to try to get it all done in one corner, but the 9 gets a huge run off the corner. He's going to go for the lead.
The story is using the outside lane. I think we're already seeing that middle to outside groove being the place to be. Terrian's going to try the bottom, and he will back out of that. Not a great place, not a great time. And we're only 11 laps in. They're racing like it's the last one. Oh, Pistorius is in the wall. Big hit out of the exit of turn number 2. Sideways down the front straightaway. Everyone scatters. The 61 gets turned. This is going to be a big one into turn number 3. The 25 caught up in it. Caution is out.
And if you're Brian Chambliss, you're just a victim of a ping-pong effect there as everyone scatters to get by him. And that's an unfortunate end to get caught up in someone else's incident. Hayden Pistorius hit the wall and couldn't collect it. And great avoidance by Shane Terrian, but at the misfortune of others.
That is just the worst. Pistorius tried to gather it back up as they headed down the straightaway. See him, he got into the wall at the exit of turn 2 at first, then came off. The 61 gets turned by the 5, and that's actually what hooks the 25 around. And right across the path, there was a little touch there from RJ Root. You see behind him a couple cars turning hard left to miss it. The 44 of Tyler Hensley and more. Take another look at it here from a little bit more towards the infield. 83, and right there, the 5 and the 61 get together. That's what turns Chambliss across the track. That's a helpless feeling, Liam. Nowhere to go, nothing to do.
Yeah, and if you're just looking at the race replay, you're just frustrated with how that all played out. It's been a frustrating few weeks for Brian Chambliss. You know, we've seen him have great runs in Outsiders Racing League, and he just couldn't quite close it out. And, you know, he just having a bad luck race again. He just tried to get by a car that hit the wall, and unfortunately, other cars trying to get by him hooked him into the wall.
And here's a look from Mitch Welkers on board. Nicely done, getting through that mess. We'll go back and look on board from RJ Root, who had a pretty good view of this all out the windshield and just squeaked through. Maybe some right front damage, but that was a pretty wild ride, huh?
Yeah, one car I want to look back at is the 91 as well. He barely squeaked by there. He split the middle between the 9 and 25, but man, you could see those two cars just shoot up the track, and he had to kind of be maybe a credit card with away from hitting a car.
Oh, that was really dicey. Oof.
Oh.
All right, well.
Netcode.
Yeah, a little bit of netcode here and there, but for the most part, some interesting decisions here on the racetrack in terms of the pit sequence. Most everyone has come to pit lane with the exception of the top 2. Terrian and Thompson stay out. Right call or the wrong call? What do you think?
Well, I was informed by Finian that they have 5 sets of tires, so these guys, they can go maybe 4 more stops, and they can do, you know, use up their remaining sets of tires. But, you know, I like this call by the 56 and 83 because you never know. There's green-white checkers in this league, so you never know. On a late race restart, people can have, you know, 20, 30 laps on their tires. These guys can go in and blow by them on the top side and maybe battle it out for the win.
So this would be what I would call, usually I say short-term gain, long-term loss. This might be a short-term loss, long-term gain, having tires towards the end of the race. I'm not opposed to this strategy. I think they're going to have trouble here in the opening laps after the restart, just trying to stay out of the way of those that have fresh tires. Casey Lakatos also giving it a shot. And looks like he actually did come hit pit lane. I don't have a pit stop time recorded for him, though, so it looks like he might have just come down the road and not actually made a pit stop, which is interesting.
What he could be doing is, going down pit road to get that eligibility to go down with 1 to green. If you, or 2 to green. It's 2 to green right now, so you can just head down while everyone's taking the 1 to green and be at the back of the field. Just trying to go for that classic Casey Lakatos lead lap under caution, thanks to the extra bonus point.
Yeah, he's popular for doing that. That's kind of Casey Lakatos' thing here as we roll on through. So our first caution out, 14 laps into this 130-lap race. So far, racing looks really competitive, but how much of that is going to increase or decrease with the tire wear? I think there was a lot of drivers making a lot of bold moves just because they had fresh rubber on the car.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, all those cars that were double file, I mean, you have the guys on the inside trying not to wash up. They're using that, wheel a little bit more to get that car turned. You want to keep the wheel as center as you can, and whether that's with throttle, backing up the corner entry, or just, acting like there's an eggshell under the throttle, you got to make sure that you don't wash up into the car or use the right front. So you just got to balance it out. It's about who can balance it out the most. And I don't believe those cars that were double file or the people that were using the top side were able to make those tires last. So it's going to be a matter of who can break away here and stay away.
So 15 laps into our 130-lap race, still a long way to go. Shane Terry and Riley Thompson, Casey Lakatos on older tires. Thomas Bressie, the first one on 4 Mr. Feelgoods on the outside of the second row. Daytona winner Chad Simpson going to be joined, or I should say, he is on the second row. Chad Simpson will restart in 5th on row number 3, alongside the 8 of Michael Stroll. So we'll see how this works out as we come back toward the green flag here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Finian DeCuno, who we talked about earlier, up to 12th. He started in 20th place, so a good bit of progress for the 94 so far.
Yeah, Finian's one of the more road course-oriented guys, so he's trying to dip his toes in the oval section of things, and this is definitely a great league to learn from and get some progression going. And, Finian DeCuno, he started off the season, with a few 20th place, 15th place efforts, and right now he's tracking to improve that finish.
Out of turn number 4, we'll be coming to the restart. Pace truck hard left back onto the pit lane. They use that as a drag strip most of the year. Green flag back in the air, lap 16. The 50 car does not get going, and the 42 has to check up to miss him as they head down towards turn number 1. Otherwise, a pretty clean restart.
Yeah, Riley Thompson spun the tires a little bit there, but he kept the car under him, and he's washing up. You can see those tires really come to effect. Tires are cold, and they're worn, so that can't be good for the 56 car. He just has to keep it out of the wall and keep as many cars behind him as he can so they burn up their stuff early.
Fanning out behind him, double file. The 24 going to look middle 3 wide. Is that going to work? That's a little dicey here on the restart. He's going to get around the 42 and to the right side of the 50. And Thomas Bressie with a power move going to go for the lead here on the front straight, challenging Shane Terry and down into turn number 1.
You got to wonder if that's too early. If you're Thomas Bressie, you have to get by this 83 right now if you don't want to burn those tires up. But Thomas Bressie, he's even with that 83. He has the 50 right behind him, washing up a little bit. Here comes the 42 of Simpson. He's not going to get there. And Thomas Bressie is going to clear the 83 down the backstretch.
Simpson showing incredible patience there to not split them 3 wide as they headed down the back straightaway. So good job there. That probably kept the field in one piece as we come out of 4. The 83 is going to drift up in front of the 56 at Thompson. Thompson denies him. He'll go even higher as they cross the line to complete lap number 16. Make that laps number 17.
An amazing job by these 3 to not fall back any further than they have. You have Michael Stroll looking high side. He's going to go to the top. Here they car. Oh, wow, that's really tight. No one made contact.
Oh, there goes the 8 car. Crash on the back straightaway. The 50 car going to slam the inside wall. We stay green. No, the 56 is sideways in front of the field now. He gets clobbered, and we're still green somehow. And there's the caution. And there's more cars on the apron. The 5, the 29 of RJ Root, and the 92 of Christopher Matthews. What a mess.
Yeah, you saw him kind of buckle together off the turn 2 exit, and they just finally ran out of real estate. Michael Stroll got a little bit of a loose bobble there, and he just came down and, went for it too early. That's a classic example of trying to get too many cars in one go, and there you go. You see him get turned down, and Casey Lakatos also involved there, and a hellacious impact there.
That was a pretty bad one. And then where the rest of this happened, with the 56 somehow got turned around. Let's go back and look and see if we can spot where this happens. That Riley Thompson was in the middle here. He's actually going to be the one that gets into the 8 car, and he's going to get pushed down the racetrack. And he just gets loose.
Well, I guess that's what happens if you have another car in front of you and you get some help there and
Yep,
never
David
quite
Mott.
could catch it.
Oh, the 29 of RJ Root got hit off the side of Gritzko. Then he slid down the racetrack and got hit again by the 5. We'll watch this at full speed. And he was just trying to do everything to miss it and just could not.
Yeah,
he's going to hit this inside wall right here. That's what's really going to hurt him.
Oh, and that's going to be pretty big damage for the 5 car. You got to make sure there's no engine damage. If you lose any RPM, you're pretty much for sure out of contention to win this race. As we look on board with the 4 car, we're going to see how this all unravels in front of him.
There'll be a lot of cars darting left and right. You're going to see the smoke cloud there. There it is. See the 50 go left. You think, okay, we're good. Accelerate through it. And Casey Shoes being very careful, and rightfully so, as he sees the rest of the chaos unfold in front of him. See the 92 Christopher Matthews. I don't exactly know how he found his way in this incident. Here's his on board. He couldn't see. I think he was behind the 5 car. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and he thought it was all over, and just too late, and there's Riley.
And we'll ride on board with Riley Thompson as well. I think he had a pretty good view of everything, obviously.
And if you're Riley, you know, kind of like you said earlier, sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball, and you get squeezed 3 wide in old tires. You can't really, it's a pretty helpless feeling right there.
I think Thompson was a little bit of everything in that whole wreck, but got hit a couple different places and will grind to a halt there on the apron in turn number 3. Second caution of the night out just after the first. Cautions breed cautions, channeling my inner Larry Mack. I think we'll just see drivers hit pit lane for crash damage repair. Everyone else, I think, will stay on the racetrack. That seems to be what they've done.
Yeah, they're going to stay on the racetrack there as the 24 stays out. The 83 finally comes in. I'm not sure if how much damage he got out of that. Actually, no, he didn't get any because it happened all behind him. So I eat my words on that. But he's going to go in for his tires, come out, and he's going to cycle out in the 12th position, certainly quicker than most of the cars in front of him. Infinity and Daytona, he just worked his way into 5th right now.
Little bit of rear end damage on that 83. I'm not exactly sure where he got that, but they were playing enough ping pong with race cars out there that I think he probably got a piece of what everyone else did as well. You see the 32's got a little bit of right side damage. So attrition here early at Atlanta. Lots of cars biting the dust, but I'm liking the 24 car so far. He's been aggressive on the starts. His problem has always been maintaining that longevity through the entire race, and that has yet to be seen if he can do that here at Atlanta.
And I think the closest competitor to that 24 is that 83 now that we've seen, you know, the 9 and the 56 go out of the race. It's going to be pretty much a dogfight between him and the 83. But this is a big opportunity for him. He can use all these slower cars behind him, slower than Thomas Bressie. I'm not calling them slow by any means. They're really quick drivers. But Thomas Bressie, he is probably the favorite to win this race, and he has a lot of a big buffer between him and Shane Terry to try to break away and get some tire saved laps underneath his belt.
And Thomas Bressie is chasing the 83 in the points, but think about heading into the fuel finals. I think this for Thomas Bressie today is more about establishing dominance. Who is the better driver at this stage in the season? I'd argue that the 83 was better earlier in the year, but I think Bressie has been consistently better at tracks where you can kind of control your own destiny, and I think Bressie might be the championship favorite. We'll see how it pans out here after the restart and after about 110 more laps worth of racing, but I think that 24 at the moment is my championship favorite in comparison to that 83.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can't really beat that consistency that this 83 car has had, and it only takes one bad race, or like what just happened.
Oh.
Did he lose connection?
Oh, did he actually drop? He's dropped off the timing screen.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man. Looks like he will drop. That is so. This has happened before, and unfortunately, he will drop out. That's going to put him at least 1 or 2 laps down. His only saving grace, Liam, it's so early in the race, he might have a chance to make it back up if there's some more wrecks.
I can't think of a bigger example of a commentator's curse there. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
But Mitch Welker is now your leader on this restart here. I'm not sure if fuel officials will hand this over to the 42, but Mitch Welker in that 76 car, he'll lead everybody to green. That pace car takes the hard right turn. Or left turn.
Hopefully it's not a right turn. It'll end up in the concrete. Green flag back in the air as Chad Simpson will bring them across the line first. We'll see how many laps Thomas Bressie can go down. This is going to be, I don't know if it's that important for him to get back out there in terms of the point situation, but I think, it's so early in the race, you've got chances to make it back up. I would go after it if I was the 24. Now down the back straight, Chad Simpson leads the way, but a side-by-side duking it out with the 27 of Skinner on the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, this 27 car, he's been putting together some solid runs. He just has to work a little bit on his consistency with his races, but overall, he's been making some strong strides to getting better at this whole oval car thing. So this 27 car is going to make his way by the 61 car. He wants it, and Shane Terry not going to be able to get by any of these cars yet.
Hearing that it was an iRacing crash for the 24, that doesn't surprise me one bit. As we head down the back straightaway, the 61 going to do a little crossover to get by Gritzko. Finny Dacuna's up to 4th place just up the road from all this, so he's having a good run so far. And Travis McQuistion, who narrowly missed both the wrecks so far, sits in 7th and going for 6th now in Gritzko.
And Travis McQuistion, he had a really strong run, finishing 2nd at Nick Johnston earlier this year in the 2020 season, and he's looking for more. Nick Johnston being absent, this is a big opportunity for him to get a win. He hasn't won in a very long time, I believe. The last one he had was Talladega, maybe 4 or 5 seasons ago.
I think didn't he win Talladega recently? I think he won it maybe last season. Or, let me take a look and see if I can find it. But he's 7th in the points coming into the night. And not this season, but I could have sworn he had gotten one maybe in 2020A. So I don't have Finney in my stats guy to look at it right now. He's out there racing. But I think McQuistion had gotten a win other than that, but it had been a while for sure.
Yeah, and he's certainly hungry for one. Probably not as hungry as Mitch Welker. He's had a really up and down season. It's been mainly full of downs, but right now he's 2nd right now. And he's looking to chase down that 42 as Thomas Bressie finally rejoins the racetrack.
Yeah, he's only 3 laps down. He might be 4 by the time he gets this sorted out, but he's got to get back out there. I think you can get that many laps back if you go out there and contest it. It's going to be a long night ahead of him, grinding for any positions he can get, but I think it's worth doing.
And if you're Thomas Bressie, you're focusing on catching that 56 car, because if a caution comes out now, that's it. 5, 6 cautions are a little hard to come by. 3, a little bit more realistic. So Thomas Bressie, he's setting his sights on trying to catch that 56 car of Riley Thompson.
Vinny and Dacuna trying to find that white line and paint it with the left side tires. He told us pre-race that it'd be really difficult to find the bottom, but he seems to have settled in quite nicely. I wonder how much the rubbering of the racetrack is going to affect the handling of these cars. Maybe his concerns will go away as the track builds some rubber up on it.
Absolutely, as the 44 makes the pass on the 76 car, and he's going to set his sights. He's going to try to take that JTM machine, teammate to Thomas Bressie. I wonder how I would understand that with similar paints. But that 44 car is going to try to chase down that 42 car. I believe he's faster than him. Actually, yes, he is. And he's reeling him in bit by bit. And the 44, Tyler Hensley, I believe he is your he has a win this season, actually, with his really breakthrough win at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, that was a really popular win for sure. Hensley runs in 2nd right now. Dacuna dodging the rear bumper of the 76 right now. He wants to get by him and grab a spot. Calvin Filarski in the number 2. He's charging his way forward. I've always been a big fan of Filarski's paint schemes he's got on these cars. As much as I'm not a fan of Penske in the real world, not the man, the team, I think Calvin's, the way that he approaches kind of making a Penske style scheme is so attractive. Big fan of his cars and hoping that he has a good run here tonight.
Yeah, they look really, you would think that these are Penske cars that have run in real life, and, I'm not a huge fan of Penske either, but he sure knows how to pick a good number font with that race team. So as the 44 is trying to close up on the 42, Vinny Dacuna goes for 3rd.
And he will try to squeak on by. Just some smoke up ahead from Tyler Hensley dropping out off the order screen as well. Maybe he has had a similar issue. And unfortunate as Welker and Dacuna now find themselves battling for 2nd. So another issue. Hardware. Oh, he's back now. Such is the way. Internet related this time, and I think it was a crash for Bressie. But that's the random tire failures of the iRacing world, is the internet and the sim.
I would think it more as an engine failure and then just go back out later. I don't think a tire failure would necessarily equate to that. As
sure.
You have the 83 car trying to close up on these two. He's on the freshest tire of these of anybody in the field right now, compared to Thomas Bressie, of course, after dropping out earlier. But the 83 is trying to get by these 2 cars. He's going to get by Mitch Welker here. Oof. I don't think he'll be able to get by him as he washes up a little bit, but he'll get it going.
Not quite clear as they come off of turn number 2, and Welker's going to chase him, side draft a little bit down the back straightaway, and he's still got a little bit of overlap as they head into 3. Dacuna slowing up the 83 on corner entry, running 3rd right now. As we work our way, well, we're just past 100 laps to go. Still a long race left tonight, but Tyler Hensley and Chad Simpson now going to go at it for the top spot while these guys fight for 3rd.
Yeah, and Tyler Hensley, if you can get in a battle with that 42 car, that's exactly what the 83 car needs. So that 83 is focusing on those two. He has to have the battle, but that 42 is certainly looking stout up there.
And now Daytona going to lose a spot here to Welker as well. He sort of got himself out of the groove. He's going to get himself freight trained now as the 76 goes by, as does the 61 of Bronson Stafford. At least he's going to try to get alongside. Looks like he will do just that. Up for the race lead, though, Hensley has caught Chad Simpson, but he's not been able to get around him just yet.
Yeah, it seems like he's backed off a little bit, or he's fallen off a little bit. As you see that 42 be able to drive it off a little bit in the corner. I believe he's driving in a little deep because that 44 is making up for it on the exit, and they've just been staying pretty much even.
Daytona drops back to 7th place now, so 3rd to 7th.
Car run in the background. Car is
Michael Skinner. Whoa! No, not the Michael Skinner. It's Mike Hurley in the 32, and he had reset to try to avoid getting drilled. And he will do that as the caution comes out for the 3rd time. Good eye there, Liam, as we go back and have a look.
And he smacked the wall off the corner, and there he went.
And then watch this.
For Tom. Ooh, that was close.
Holy cow.
Man, who was that? I can't even. There's no bumper on it anymore, so I can't even tell. But,
I think it was R.J. Root, maybe? Here's a look.
Yes, definitely R.J. Root with that lost front bumper in that earlier crash, but he's going to get by here. I think he had another close call earlier, so...
he did.
Hard stop moment.
Oh, man, that was really close. So,
a bunch of hard-stopping moments for R.J. Root this race, and this is a big thing for Thomas Bresci because he did not get the free pass. Riley Thompson will be your lucky dog here, and now he needs either Thompson to get lapped and catch 4 more cautions, or he needs Thompson to get unlapped as many times as he can, and then he'll start getting his lucky dogs.
Some more split strategies here on the pit box tonight. A lot of indecision about when to come hit pit lane. Stafford and Roberts will stay out on the racetrack, so this is going to prevent anybody from taking the wave around, which is really what I think the 56 and 24 need to do. And I think Bresci will... he's going to have to drop to the back of this again. He was hoping that these guys would come hit pit lane. They're just going to keep him down by staying out on the racetrack when they could pit.
And he's probably the most frustrated driver on the racetrack right now, not taken out by an accident on the racetrack or others doing it. It's just simply an iRacing issue. So you always hate it when it's something out of your control, and this is definitely an instance of that.
If you would like to follow along with live timing and scoring, you can always do that at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing. And join it live and have that up on another monitor to show you everything you'd like to know about where your favorites are on the racetrack. So simtvbroadcasting.com/timing. What's coming up on SimTV this week? Well, you're watching the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Tomorrow night, the Washington, D.C. region SCCA Virtual Racing League will take on Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas for their first round of their winter championship. It'll be myself and 4-time IMSA winner and 2-time World Challenge TC America champion Tom O'Gorman will be in the booth alongside me. And Thursday night, Scars Ferrari Challenge will head off to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park with myself and Eric Mickey calling that. And then Saturday, Formula I will be back from Silverstone with Outsider Racing League heading to Kentucky that evening at 10 Eastern. So lots coming up on SimTV this week. A busy week for the first time in a little while as we get prepared to go for a restart. What do you think about staying out this time for Bronson Stafford? He's been out on the racetrack for 24 laps. That's significant, and those tires are going to be hurting a bit.
Yeah, that's a pretty long time to be on tires for, and especially for a car that really hasn't run up front. I mean, this car is running, mired back in the 7th, 8th, 9th spot. So we haven't seen the 61 car lead a restart here. If you're in 3rd, 4th, and maybe 5th, you're probably scared that he's going to spin those tires and correct them into the field, because that's a big thing that happens in Atlanta. Not really necessarily the driver's fault. You could just get on the gas really early, and that could cause you to lose the car.
So Will Roberts will also stay out, as will R.J. Root. Even without the front bumper on that car, he feels like he can run up here, at least in the short term. Tyler Hensley, I think, is the first driver on those new tires and another tank of fuel, so we'll see how it lasts. But again, we've had a trio of cautions in the first 40 laps. That concerns me for those that have been taking so many sets of tires, Liam, because, again, we only have 5. And for Hensley and everybody else, they've pretty much already used up 2 sets of those tires.
Yeah, you don't want to use up all your tire sets early because... you only have 5 of them. I say you only have 5, and anywhere else that would be a lot of tire sets. You're probably thinking, oh yeah, I can come in pit road after any sort of run, but this is a pretty lengthy race. Not too long, not as long as last night, but a pretty lengthy race and 5 tire sets with this high tire wear track. It's definitely not an easy task to save some tire.
Yeah, Atlanta is known for being super abrasive and also very slippery, so you're going to burn up especially the right rear tire along with the right front, depending on how you're driving the race car. Double filed again. We started the night with 23 drivers on the grid. We are down to 22 of them on the racetrack. Only one driver has officially retired. That would be Mike Hurley in the number 32. Bresci is back out, still 3 laps down. Riley Thompson is 2 laps down, and Hayden Pistorius is back out on track, 8 laps down, trying to make up whatever he can with cars dropping due to incidents here and there. So, doubled back up, Bronson Stafford in the Cineplex car, the number 61, the kind of royal blue and gold. Looks like some sort of venomous snake paint scheme that he's got on that car. And then Will Roberts will restart in the Hardy's car on driver's right here coming to the restart.
Good looking car in the 61.
It is a great livery. As we come to the restart, lap number 39 of 130. About 49 minutes of racing left. Green flag back in the air.
That was a great restart by the 61. The 17 didn't get as good of a restart, and Tyler Hensley's going to be boxed in behind this 29 and the 17, so he's not going to take it 3 wide. He's going to show a little bit more patience than that, but he's going to try to get by this 29 car in this restart. And the 42, Chad Simpson, all over his back bumper, a little bit loose off the corner for the 44. And they're 3 wide in the corner. Travis McQuistion gets 3 for 1 in one set of corners. Man,
we're stacking up. Middle 3 wide, the 44 and the 42. They're 4 wide for a moment as they come out of turn number 4. They stacked them up. There's the 93 going for the race lead as they come across the line, but a big mess of cars behind him. Is this going to work?
Yeah, what a lap for Travis McQuistion, but the 8 car actually clipped the grass and got a little airborne there, so that aided Michael Stroll. He's being really aggressive on this restart. Everyone's seeing this as the money restart because they don't see any more cautions coming out, especially with
I do.
How little drivers are in the field, but oh my goodness.
I see cautions
on this restart, but
I see cautions coming for sure. The 5 car of Fambro, the 91 of Gritzko right in front of Finney and DeCuna, but that 29 car has been going backwards. He's got damage on that car. He's got older tires. That was never really going to work, but he's managed to get himself out of the way and not cause an incident here with the rest of the field streaming through turn number 1 and 2.
Well, if you're the 29, you know you're going to get lapped at some point.
Oh, behind him, the 2 car hard on the fence at the exit of 2. And everyone going to scatter, but Filarski gets run up the hill into the fence, and that will be a big one. That'll hurt.
Yeah, that's definitely going to show with his car's handling right there. It's big damage to that right front. I wouldn't be surprised at all on lane the run. He'll be maybe a good 3 or 4 seconds off the pace of the leaders. But that 44 car and the 42 have been going at it pretty hard here as everyone's starting to calm down a little bit from that restart, I would say.
Yeah, I guess we could call that calm down as they straighten out onto the straightaway now. McQuistion, Hensley, Simpson, Tarian, and Welker, the top 5. Mitch Welker, through all the chaos and confusion of the start of this one, he has been sort of the victim of a lot of bad luck this season. He has found his way through the field with a lot of good luck so far today, and has moved it from 9th up into 5th, so a good run going.
Yeah, a complete mirror from last season. He got involved in that very first lap wreck, so he's not going to finish last here. He's going to finish probably in the top 5. He has a really good 76 machine underneath him, and it's just a matter of how he can keep those tires fresh. But up front, 2nd place finisher earlier in the year, Travis McQuistion.
Looking a little bit deeper, here's a big fight going off into turn 3. That's Stafford on the outside. Remember, he restarted in the race lead, didn't last for long. Fambro and Gritzko go through, and Casey Shue and Finney DeCuna just outside the top 10, or at least Shue's inside, Finney on the out.
Yeah, big time tire wear for that 61 car. 24 laps is now we know the boundary for staying out on old tires, and as those laps go on, that's just more and more laps on those tires, and it's just the sooner that tire may blow.
So you talked about, maybe receiving less cautions from here on out. I'd agree with you now that we've singled everybody out. I think the chances for a yellow decrease the longer we run. I don't think this place is really a place where you see a lot of single car accidents deep into a run. If it's going to go green, it'll go green for a long time. And so far, we've seen a couple short sprints. But once everyone gets sorted out, as we're still 3 wide back here, 16th, 17th, 18th, I think we'll get some green runs in.
And the 92 just got flat out moved by the 10 car, and he made some quick work there on the front straightaway. Big move by that 10 car. He's going to try to get to the inside of this 50 car. Casey Locato's not going to happen, and that 50 car is looking pretty stout on the outside.
David Mott Jr., one of the drivers involved in one of the earlier incidents on the backstretch, just couldn't miss it, ended up kind of driving into the door of somebody, and there's Will Roberts, 17th place now, trying to come back as he clips the grass. That's a dangerous thing. It's easy to shortcut here at Atlanta. You want to kind of nip the corner off that grass patch there, Liam, but if you do that too heavily, it's pretty easy to lose the car, and it's kind of a silly way to go, too.
Yeah, it'd be quite the embarrassment to have a caution come out maybe 50 or so laps in a run and have it be from you hooking it right on the straightaway because you clipped the grass. But that 5 car just in front of the 91 car, he's I think he's checking him up a little bit. The 91's a little bit faster, but I think that 5's playing the long haul game as the 91's going to try to move him a little bit.
That was he does get turned in the middle of turn 2. Everyone's going to scatter. The 4, the 94, they're going to move. That was really close to being a mess. Right on board with Finney Nakuna through all this. Here's a look at what he saw. Oof. What a moment. He did a great job checking up to not run to the back of the 4 as we jump back live. It was a dicey moment. Travis McQuistion has gotten run down as you see these guys continue to battle. We're going back to the lead because Hensley has caught the race leader.
Apologies for that. My mic became unplugged there, but big moment there for the 5 and the 44, or the 4, as the 44 is going to go for the lead here on the 93 car. All the way on the back bumper he is, and he's saved tires. Definitely a way better than this 93 car is as he chops him off going up the hill here. And that 44, Tyler Hensley, is going to try to get a charge mountain out of him.
And some people at home might be, save tires, thought we just restarted. Well, yeah, we did, but have a look at the lap times here by Tyler Hensley. Already 7/10 off of his best time. We're only about, 13 laps into a stint, so losing 7/10 of a second every 13 laps. I'd say that's about a half second every 10 laps. You're losing a lot of pace very quickly. If you can manage, you'll be better off, as they are going to fight for the lead here on the front stretch. Hensley looks low.
Yeah, it's all about flattening that curve with that tire wear. Definitely really major at this track, especially with how tires have become really important on iRacing as of late with their new tire model. As Tyler Hensley trying to go for his second win of the season. He's trying to get it away from this 93 car, but he's not giving it up easy.
Tyler Hensley has had a career season this year. Is they're going to get really tight. They almost touched there through the middle of 3 and 4, still going at it. Hensley sits 8th in the points. This is one of his best seasons that he's had. And capping it off with a win in North Wilkesboro and going for another one here today. This would be a great addition to his season stats. McQuistion is not giving this up. He's not giving it to Hensley, and they continue to run door to door.
Well, yeah, and if you're the 44, you got to be fine with that 93 running up there because that's worse on his tires than you running the bottom. So if you're Tyler Hensley, he's not pinching him too hard. The 44 is washing up just a touch, so it's a little bit of wiggle room on the bottom side. If he needs to absolutely get clear, as he's going to try to get clear of him going into 1, and if he's a little late on the off the throttle here, he'll clear him, and that's exactly what he does.
Nice job there, and the 93 is going to try to cross him up there, but I don't really think that move is going to work too well for him. Going to throttle up, he'll get close. I'm not sure this will be a big enough run to go back to the lead. I'm watching. Oh, he's going to go for it here. Side by side again into turn 3, and watch the 83 of Terry, and he's been the quickest car on the racetrack the last 3 laps.
Yeah, too sharp of an arc for that 93 car, or else he would ram straight into the 44, and that 44 is going to clear him by probably 2 car lengths going on the straightaway. The 93 is really pushing to get by him. I don't think that's the right, call to action after losing the lead. You want to back off and save those tires a little bit.
And there's Finney Nakuna and Christian Kritzko going for 7th place off into turn number 1. We'll keep our eyes focused up here for now. As we're watching the front 4, they're all kind of converging on each other. So I guess we'll jump back to 7th place now and see Nakuna and Kritzko going at it in their twin Supras.
Yeah, and that 94 is going to easily clear him going into that corner. The 91's going to try to use the high side to get a little bit of a charge running. He's going to try to cross him over on the straightaway. Not enough of a run to make it happen, so that 94 is going to easily clear that 91 car and made it look easy.
Up front, the front 3, I keep telling you they're condensing, and they certainly are. Tarian going to go for 2nd place now on the 93. He'll make pretty quick work of him here as he dives on in.
Yeah, it looks like the 93 just let him go, so maybe Travis is going to back off a little bit, try to charge him out or run later in the race. And that 83 is going to be the guy that the 44 has to keep behind him because we're coming closer, to that pit window where you can make it. It's just a matter of who makes the call first and who is in front when that call is made.
We are approaching lap number 65. It'll be 10 laps from now, and that will be our halfway point. So still a little ways to go in this race, but I think you might run this. I always think of races like a road course strategy where you try to figure out when's the earliest I can pit to make it to the end of the race. And while that strategy might lose me a whole bunch of races, that in my mind is where I expect people to start thinking about coming to pit lane. I think here it'll probably be around lap number 80 that we'll start to see people hit pit lane. So that's about 25 laps from now.
Yeah, and that 83 is running the higher line, so he's probably thinking on trying to get this lead by the 44, but he's not using, not big of a sense of urgency as the 61 finally gives in, comes on a pit road. Those are really old tires on that machine. I wouldn't be surprised if that tire wear on that right front is in the single digits.
Well, I just said that we would expect pit stops in lap number 80. Well, that would give us about 50 laps to go. Stafford pits on lap 61. So I think we've seen that we can do that as we got a battle for the race lead now into turn 1. Shane Terry, the points leader. Maybe he can lead the race too.
Yeah, as that 83 is going to try to get by him. Not big enough of a run to make it happen. I believe a dive to the inside is a little risky for him, but he's going to go for it.
Hensley will leave him space. I don't think they're going to contest this too much here, as the 83, I think, is just a little bit faster, and Hensley's got to know that, so he might just let him go as they come out of turn 4. But for now, it keeps the right foot on the throttle as they come across the line.
Yeah, a little bit of a gutsy move to go for it there, but that 44 showing a little bit of respect there, a little bit of a competition courtesy, and he's going to let him go and settle for second. He's clearly the second fastest car. Travis McQuistion trying to charge back and get him. I don't think that's the right move.
Competition courtesy. I like that a lot, actually. We're going to keep that. Tyler Hensley off into 3. Stays out on the rear bumper of Shane Terry, and I think it's not going to be for too much longer. Casey Shue and Christian Gritzko going at it for 9th.
Yeah, and this 91 car has gone backwards fairly quickly. He got passed by Kenny and Daytona just a few laps prior, and look how far up the road he is now. So this 91 car is certainly used those tires up early, and he's certainly paying the price now.
0.2 of a second is the race lead from Terry and back to Hensley. McQuistion has sort of reeled the 44 back in, but there's another car creeping into this picture, and that is the 42 of Chad Simpson. Winner from Daytona this year, and looking at his season stats, he is still 4th in the standings. And his most recent finish at Road America was a top 10 run there, a 9th, a 7th at Talladega, a 9th at North Wilkesboro, a 4th at Charlotte, a 7th at Darlington. He is running on 5 consecutive top 10 runs, and looks to continue that, maybe even a top 5 tonight.
Yeah, he has a great group of teammates over there at Satellite Racing. He has a VRS sponsorship there, so it has to be a big boost for him. As that 42 car, he's had a lot of good runs this season, and I'm not surprised at all by that good run at Road America, especially with those expertise with his teammates.
And while you obviously can't adjust the setups, I think the knowledge of how to manipulate the car to accept certain setups is certainly a skill. I think DJ Alessandrini always tells us that it's actually a more level playing field with open setups because you can make the car do things that you want it to do versus having to figure out and learn quickly how to drive around a setup, which is what people end up doing with the fixed stuff. So I wonder if Chad Simpson, again, he's also a competitor over at the Indy Elite Series where they run open setups there in IndyCar. So I have to imagine that it will make its way over to the racing stock car program, and I'm sure that he's learned quite a bit over the last couple seasons.
Yeah, I'm sure he has a few teammates over there that have a lot of laps in these cars, so he could always ask them for a little bit of help for, for obviously this race, and this is a big race for him. He has to stay up in the points picture so he can have a great bit of momentum going into the postseason.
Vinny DeCuna still having a pretty good run today, 7th as it stands. Remember, he started at the tail of the field, dodged a couple wrecks early, and is now setting himself up for a pretty decent last half of the run. He's faster than about half the cars in front of him, so I could see him being a top 5 car tonight if he can just get a little bit more track position. Speaking of track position, jumping up all the way to 3rd, Chad Simpson has found McQuistion, and now that battle is on.
Yeah, he's all over the back bumper of this 93 car, and that 93, he's sort of flattened that curve of the tire where, we saw him going backwards quickly once that 44 car got by him, but he was able to settle it down, and that 42 car, while he's the quickest of these 4, I believe, he's not able to get by this 93 car, and this 93 car is certainly not making it easy.
approaching our halfway point here. It'll be at the end of lap number 65. Again, we'll expect another 15 laps or so until you can make it to the end on fuel and maybe tires as well. There's a car up the road from this. It'll be the RJ Root machine, who is back on the lead lap somehow. Also, Thomas Bressi, how frustrating is this to have the race start with a couple of yellows, get dropped out while leading, and then end up not getting any more yellows to make up your ground?
Yeah, he was running as quick as he could to try to catch the 56 of Riley Thompson. He was just a few laps short of doing so. That 56 car is pretty well damaged, and that 24 car could have been back in the picture with 2 more cautions. Now it's going to take 5.
Oops, wrong button there. Sorry about that. As we work our way to the end of the first half of this race.
Caution.
Oh, well, that right at the halfway point, it's Calvin Filarski in turn number 1 right in front of the 10 of David Mott Jr. That was a little dicey. And that is our 4th caution of the day.
That had to be the closest avoidance all night. Definitely the highest rate of speed difference between, a spinning car and the car avoiding. So, man, what a big maneuver by the 10 of David Mott Jr.
Here's a low. Was there help maybe from the 27? Ooh.
That is definitely help and a half there.
I would say, though, that's how I describe it. Woo, David Mott. We got to watch on his onboard to see how he saw this out the windshield, because I'm sure it was a pucker factor of about 12,000. It started happening a long time before he got to the corner, but he slid back up the racetrack here. Oh, man.
Yeah, great heads-up driving by David Mott. You saw him go a little straight on the straightaway here. I was kind of concerned by that, but the 27 all over the back bumper of him, and then the 2 goes up. I wouldn't say that was more on the 27.
There's something not right with this. Let's go back about a lap. I want to see if there is another half to this story here. So let's ride on board with the 27 and see if there was maybe a precursor to this.
I guess on the outside, a little bit of a bump there.
Yeah,
zigzag.
He was zigged and he zagged, and I think there might have been a little bit of a block there. And then maybe is there maybe a brake check here on the front straightaway? There's more to this story than we saw. I think we already saw it.
Gets a great run off the corner. And that too, yeah, he slowed down quite a bit there, and that's all she wrote.
Yeah. Well, I do know that the fuel race control doesn't really take kindly to retaliation, so be curious to see how that gets handled. Michael Skinner and Calvin Filarski having a bit of a duality here on the front straightaway. So exactly at halfway, we've had a handful of pit stops already happen, and it looks like Shane Terrian will be the first one back out on the racetrack after he led a whole bunch of laps. He has led now 15. Travis McQuistion has led 11. Tyler Hensley, actually I corrected myself here, he is actually the first driver come back out on the racetrack. He has only led 6. Where's all the laps gone? Who's led him tonight?
Yeah, I want to say it was balanced between the 9 and the 24 car. And then everyone else is.
The 24 has led 13. It's like everybody's led 12 to 15 laps, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, you think that these cars have been up front longer, and only 6 laps.
Yeah, beats me. All right, so our 4th caution of the night. We've had a handful early and then a pretty long green flag run. We are about, 12 laps until the pit window. I think this shifts our window closer to lap number 95 to 105, I think, is probably when I'd expect to see drivers come back down. So I'd expect, a 25, 30 lap run, or maybe they'll run the tank all the way out and go to lap 112 to 115. It might be dicey, but this changes the strategy. Also, look at the weather information here. We've got a cloud over the speedway, and the track temp is dropping.
Yeah, you talk about that long haul strategy. I think that's a little too much time lost staying out than what you would gain. I mean, it's only 12 laps that you would be on fresher tires then, and even then, it's not too much time to run down those cars. So you'd only have maybe 16, 17 laps on those that final set of tires, and you got to think about this. Who has used the most set of tires in this race? We saw a lot of drivers peel down pit road. I think they only have maybe 1 set, maybe 2 sets left.
Looks like 2 sets, except for unless Brian Chambliss is about to take another, that would leave him only with 1. Colin Fambro's been down pit lane 4 times. No telling if he took tires all 4 times, but I assume that drivers that have come down 4 times have taken 4 sets, but that's not strictly true. And one thing I would like to do is I want to see if our timing page shows everybody at home this information and see if it does. Just double checking for your sake. And it certainly does. So if you head to simtvbroadcasting.com/timing, you can look at how many times drivers have hit pit lane, and you can get a pretty good idea of who's got what left. As we get the 1 to green here, Liam, Shane Terry and Tyler Hensley up front. Pick me a winner. Who wins this race?
I gotta say, it's really close. I mean, I gotta say, it's gonna be either one of these two. I mean, those two behind him, they've been in a little bit of a different zip code from these front two cars. Travis McQuistion's been close, but yeah, I gotta say, I'm liking that little bit of resurgence by that 44 car later in the run. The 83 wasn't able to get by him easily, and the 44 didn't let go of him once he got by.
Coming back to the restart to hit lap number 70, next time by the stripe. There'll be 60 laps to go, so we are just past halfway in our 12th and final round of the regular season for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. 12 drivers will be in competition for the Fuel Finals heading into next week at Lucas Oil Raceway Park. Pace truck hard left. Coming back to the restart, lap number 70. Green flag back in the other. 44 is the race leader. Good clean getaway for the top spot driver. Shane Terry drops in line in front of the 93. Pretty clean start.
Yeah, not nearly as hectic as the previous restart, but ooh, they're going to be a little close. Chad Simpson's going to use that higher line, that momentum, to get by this 93 car, and that's pretty much the only time you can use a higher line to your advantage. And the 42 is going to run really high here. He's going to try to get as big of an arc as he can on that 93 car. One car pinching really close. That is behind the 94. That's a 5 Colin Fambro, but it's not going to amount to anything as the 42 finally gives up the spot to the 93.
Hensley across the line was the quickest car on the racetrack that time through, so I think he might grow a lead at least in the short term. We have right now 19 drivers on the lead lap. We have 22 drivers still on the racetrack. The only official retirement still Mike Hurley. And it looks like Thomas Bressie was able to get one of his laps back. He's now 2 laps down, fighting with Riley Thompson for a free pass position. So this is kind of a battle within itself. You see Riley Thompson in the 56, the 24, back a little ways. So he still has to fight. Liam, there's still 60 laps to go. Easily could get both those laps back with a couple of yellows here and there.
Yeah, this is a big battle to watch here. And that 24 probably got, stacked up on a checkup there. I don't believe his car's damaged in any way, shape, or form. He just got,
Off into turn 3. Microphone got unplugged there again as we head through turn number 3 and 4. The 44, 83, 93, all harboring the top 3 spots. And Mitch Welker is jumping up in here. He's going to try to go after Stroll to get his 5th place back as they head off into 1. And at the exit of turn number 2 again, 1 through 7 all lined up. Finney and DeCuna trying to grab a spot here on Mitch Welker with Casey Shue in behind. And behind them, Will Roberts breaking back inside the top 10.
Yeah, and he played the long haul strat there as my mic is finally working. I don't know what's going on with this cable. Maybe my rabbit has cheated.
We need Bluetooth tech, man. My stuff isn't Bluetooth, but it's got really long, nice cables. So, all right. Well, off into turn 1. There's a 93 or 94 car looking to the outside of Mitch Welker. Going to carry some speed here.
Yeah, that 94. He's been really strong these last few races. He's really come to fruition with his oval abilities. And he's definitely showing a really strong run here tonight as he's trying to get by one of the championship contenders last season. That's no small feat for Finian to do in one of his early races in this Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series career.
Yeah, Finney DeCuna has a lot of experience running Indy cars, and that's sort of where he spends most of his time as Mitch Welker kind of rubs the right-hand vinyl off the side of that car in turn 1. DeCuna runs a lot of open-wheel stuff, and so not having downforce on a racetrack like this is sort of not a new concept. He's been running iRacing since 2011, but I think kind of getting used to the newer aerodynamic packages and getting back used to the power and weight levels of a stock car versus the Indy car, which is what he normally runs here. He usually runs that with what's the league on Thursday nights?
I've watched it. Yeah, I saw that once or twice on GSRC. But, yeah, I saw Finian in there. I was like, oh, look, Finian. I was thinking about tagging him in the sim.
He runs well, too. He runs really good in that series. And
yeah, he runs top 10.
Yeah, and
weekly.
Gets kind of wrecked more often than not on the road courses, even where he's quick. But there's Welker going by. The 8 car is Stroll. That'll be for 5th, and it looks like DeCuna's going to follow him through.
Yeah, what a solid run for Finian. And the 8 car, he's also come really to fruition. He came into this league late last season, and he's pretty high up in points. I'm not sure exactly where he is. I think he's maybe third.
That would be, yeah, third. He is now 66 points behind Shane Terry. And of course, that won't matter here heading into next week. But you see the 4 car slip, and look at the 17 kind of coming into his own here late in the race.
Yeah, the 17 car, I believe he was involved in an earlier incident, but he stayed out on those tires really long, and that's a really good call for him because he never got lapped. And now he has a whole extra set of tires compared to the rest of the field, and this 17 car is definitely going to be one of the favorites if we get a green-white checker.
I don't remember him being strictly involved in a wreck, and I'm trying to look and see if there's any scratches on that car. It looks pretty seamless to me. I think he might have been near one, but I don't think he actually got hit, which is definitely a crucial thing to recognize. So he runs 8th place right now with a very clean-looking race car. Welker now approaching Chad Simpson. He's found some pace here, but you know the driver who's really found pace? Tyler Hensley. He's leading by 1.2, but keep an eye on Shane Terry, and last time by was a couple hundredths quicker.
Yeah, maybe Thomas Bressy's probably coaching that number 44 car, and there he is with a huge lead on that 83 car, certainly way bigger than what he had prior in that last run. So he's learning. I like this little bit of resurgence for this 44 car. He's certainly learning a little bit more and more about his race car in this track.
And again, I think the confidence booster win that he had at North Wilkesboro, really important for Tyler Hensley. I think that was all that was missing. I mean, I don't think the capabilities inside the race car have changed all that much. We always knew he was a good driver, but just couldn't capitalize on it being put in high-intensity situations. And so far tonight, he's really proven that he's learned something this season. He's put himself in position to maybe win another one as we're going to hit 50 to go next time by, which tells me you can pit any time, make it to the end. We'll see how the strategy plays out here for these last 50 laps.
Yeah, and you talk about that confidence boost, the mental boost that has to be to knowing that you can beat your competitors that you're racing right now. That has to be a huge boost for that 44 car, and he's up front leading. But we're coming up on the pit stop window. I believe you can make it if you pit now. It would be a really gutsy call, though. You'd have to be banking on no cautions coming out, and it's a really long-haul game, but we've seen in other leagues it paying off for cars playing the long-haul strategy. We saw a championship decided with that strategy.
Tyler Hensley's last lap was just about a tenth slower than Shane Terry in 31.924 to a 31.831. And I'm keeping my eye on this because Shane Terry is starting to reel in Tyler Hensley. So I think if we get a restart with maybe 20 to go, I pick the 44. If we get a caution now and run to the end, maybe you pick Shane Terry as your favorite as he goes about a tenth faster than that time through.
Well, yeah, but maybe that 83 is pushing a little bit right now. That 44, he could back it off a little bit. He could be backing off now. And if that 83 catches him, he can be playing a little bit of mind games. If that 83 sees that 44 slowing down, he's thinking, oh yes, he's burned his tires. But maybe he hasn't. Maybe he's just storing a little bit. So when that 83 gets to him, he can try to pull away.
Well, you know what? If I'm Tyler Hensley, I have control over the situation now. As soon as the 83 catches me, maybe I hit pit lane to try to offset what the 83 is gaining later in the run. So I think that's the strategy for the 44. Let the 83 catch you and then slow down and come hit pit lane. Don't let him pass you and then wait 10 laps. I would hit pit lane as soon as that 83 gets to you or by you. I would actually pit right in front of him and make him have to take an evasive maneuver. Maybe not the most gentlemanly thing to do, but it's a good way to grab some space.
Yeah, it's probably a really, what the heck, man type thing.
Yeah, but hey, it might work.
Perhaps, or you could possibly destroy both of your cars.
I mean, that's true.
Inside wall. But, if you're the 44, you're probably thinking about that pit entry because, this is a really tough pit lane to get slowed down for. You can slow down in turn 4, and you still cannot make it. You have to slow down pretty early, get on the binders gradually and slowly because that pit lane comes up really quick on you.
Yeah, this is one of those pit lane entries that is pretty tricky to make. I don't think it's as tricky as places like Chicagoland or Darlington, but it certainly is not an easy one. The speeds that you're carrying in Atlanta are so high, and it doesn't quite have the banking to sustain you slowing down in a curved fashion. As soon as you hit the brakes, the car wants to drive straight, so that's something to keep our eyes on as well. Last time by 5.
An update on your free pass scenario. The 25 is now sitting in that position as he has gone one lap down now. I'm not sure if that was on speed or if he played a little bit of undercut, but he's now one lap down as he takes the free pass spot.
And again, that's going to seal Thomas Bressy's fate. I think it's too little too late now. He'll be stuck 2 laps down for the rest of the race. If you missed earlier, Thomas Bressy led 13 laps in this race early in the going before he ended up dropping out due to a sim crash. So he jumped back in, was 3 laps down. He got one of those laps back, and he's been unable to do anything with it since then. As we go back to third, got a battle going on here.
Yeah, that 93 is mounting a big charge on that 42, but he's fallen back a little bit, and now that 42 is finally going to take that spot away. We saw him quicker earlier in the run, but he backed off a little bit, and he finally got past this 93 car. But the 93 is taking it on the outside. Not going to happen, though.
Mitch Welker going to stick to the bottom, painting that white line with the left front tire. He gets a good run off, and he should be able to get by this 93 this time, but that run off the high side, pretty effective here.
Yeah, Travis actually had to check off of turn 2 there. The 42 got a big bite down into turn 1, and that 93, he ran up high, tried to take that challenge to him and maybe get the momentum going, but he had to check up because that turn 2 wall comes up quick on him.
Closing in on 40 laps to go now. A second and a half. Tyler Hensley, hey, I think you're right. I think Shane Turian did burn his stuff up. He's lost a couple tenths every lap, and he's back to a second and a half. And he's actually falling back into the clutches of the 42, so I think you're dead on. Drove too hard, burned up the tires, and now he's going to have to struggle to even hold on to second place.
Yeah, now it's perfectly executed by the 44. Back off a little bit, and that 83 saw that as an opportunity, and that was just too little. I mean, it was too early to do that, and yeah, the 44 wins this battle for now, as the 42 is certainly coming quickly to catch this 83 car.
42, 76, 93, and Welker, he is coming into his zone. He's been the fastest car on the racetrack the last 3 laps, so Welker has found another gear to run. And if I'm Welker, my strategy is very different from the front runners. I run this car out of fuel, and then I maybe try to pull an overcut potentially. We'll see if that's what Welker does, but he's got a lot of experience with strategy as a Formula One fan and a fan of open wheel racing in general. Strategy is always on Mitch Welker's mind, and I think he probably knows how to execute that better than anybody else in the field.
Yeah, you can see that really Formula One inspired name rail. Oh, wow.
That was Thomas Bresci coming back out on the racetrack. He was really loose on the apron. He will go back down to 4 laps down as he makes his final pit stop of the night.
And if you get a camera on the 76, you can just see the Formula One inspired thing on the name rail there, the well, for the, somewhat of a ticker thing right there, for the, in Formula One, you only have 3 letters, and that's Mitch Welker's 3 letters.
Yeah, we do 3 letters for the Formula I series, and they end up not liking it very much because no one knows. I mean, in Formula One, you know who the people are. When you're just a sim racing guy over in Formula I, nobody really knows who's who. So it's something that we thought about doing for Formula Series, but never really committed to doing long term, just because it's. They're not famous race car drivers, but I like the look on Welker's car. We certainly know who he is. Here's the 24. Going to try to get his back to 3 laps down, although I'm not sure really at what point this is going to help him. I think the 24's goal now is maybe help the teammate out, Tyler Hensley.
Yeah, maybe you want to get in front of these 2 cars or these 3 cars and then try to maybe, I wouldn't say slow down a little bit, but maybe take their line away and try to give them a little bit more dirty air because, that is a thing that these drivers hate to hear. Definitely less prominent with these cars, but it does exist on iRacing, albeit not as much as it does in real life, especially with the Cup Series package.
Didn't really spend a whole lot of time in front of the 83, so he will drive off into the distance. Welker going for 3rd alongside a fellow Supra driver in the 42. Welker should have this pass complete down here in turn number 1, and now I think my focus shifts to the 76, maybe a potential winner for this race, and he's still running faster than everybody else on the racetrack.
That's certainly a big gap to close in on that 44, and he still has to get by that 83 car. Also, we're coming up on that pit stop, and I don't think that's enough time that he can gain on that 44 car.
It's only 1.5 seconds, though. It's not a huge gap. I think it's manageable. It's all going to come down to the strategy of when they pit and can Welker find the pace after the restart. I think where Welker is gaining on the 44 is deeper into the run. So if Hensley grows his lead exponentially after the pit stop, that may dampen the hopes for Welker, but he's certainly going to give it a shot. He sits 3rd right now, continues to run 0.2 a lap better, and he's going to make pretty quick work here at Tarian once he gets there.
Yeah, and that 83 car is certainly struggling after the 44 played a little 9 games with him, and now he's certainly falling back quickly. But that 83, he's been hungry for a win. He hasn't won this season, so he's definitely hungry for one, especially being the points leader. How awkward would it be to win a championship without winning?
He has 11 starts, 9 top 10s, and 5 top 5s but he has not won a race. That's got to be weighing on him just a little bit. It feels like you didn't really win a championship if you didn't win a race, or at least once, and Shane Terrian is in position to do it tonight, but with 35 laps to go, he's got Mitch Welker on his tail and Hensley out the windshield, and I think both of those cars are a little bit better right now.
Yeah, in this 83 car, he's actually good friends with Tom Sabresi in the JTM group, so he is maybe playing a little bit of help with this 44 car, because if it can't be you, why not your friend? So this 83 car is certainly holding up the 76 car, but the 76 is going to go to the inside, but he's going to get that good bite down in the center. Look at how strong that 76 is mid-corner.
So
he's
good.
Get a huge drive off the exit. That's a great corner for Mitch Welker.
That's really hard to do this late into a run. We've gone about 30 laps into this run, and for Welker to be able to get off the corner that well, he is doing something different. It's working out. 1.5 seconds is the gap now. 35 to go. It's going to be 34 this time by. I think he's got the pace to do it. It's all going to come down to the pit stop as we have our first taker. Will Roberts hits pit lane with 34 laps to go.
Yeah, I think he's a little too far back to try to leapfrog the leader here and try to keep the lead a little bit, but this is a opportunity for Mitch Welker to dive down pit road, get those tires, because you'll have that lead once he comes off.
So we discussed this a lot last night in the 3-wide race at Darlington. If I'm Mitch Welker, maybe the strategy here is to just follow exactly what the 44 car does. You know you're better than him right now. Maybe you just bank on that and being able to run him down the old-fashioned way. I think if you short pit, it removes the advantage you have, and if you overcut, I don't think we have enough laps left in this race to really pull an effective overcut. He was faster again last lap. He's got to understand that matching what the 44 does might be his best chance at getting a race win tonight.
Yeah, and you can try to beat him at his own game, but that 44 is so strong on the short line. I don't know if he'll have enough time towards the end to try to reel him in. So maybe he tries to pit now, and then get that extra lap on those tires, and then try to overcut him, or try to get that lead and try to keep him behind him as Chad Simpson style.
Yeah, 42 to pit lane. This will start to force the hands of others inside the top 5. Welker again faster only by 7 thousandths that time, but he is slowly creeping in on that 44. Again, what will Hensley do? What will Welker do? And is either one aware of their current situation in terms of their pace? I'm sure Welker knows he's reeling him in, but is he willing to undercut the 44? I don't think he is. So we'll see how this pans out as we approach 30 laps to go. Welker is slowing for pit lane. He's going to come hit pit lane and undercut the 44. The 93 will follow.
And that 93 with a really aggressive pit exit, so that's definitely not going to help Mitch Welker at all. Oh, wow, who was that?
That was Fambro.
Wow, that was really close to the 94.
We'll keep an eye on that. I think the 94 was a little bit conservative, and the 5 car to squeeze around him. But this is going to force the hand of Tyler Hensley. Will he stay out, or will he hit pit lane? We're about to find out.
I think you have to pit now with that 90 or the 76 in, and
here he comes.
93, all these contenders, and he's going to slow down, really aggressive. I don't think that's enough. He's going to miss it.
Oh, he's going to miss pit lane. Oh, no. Will that count, Liam? I think if you miss the cone, I think this is going to be a penalty for the 44. This is huge.
Be an pit entry. Oh, that's I don't know. That's a 40-second hold, so that's a huge penalty unless you go back around and come back in and have a stop and go.
Now we're going to find out if this is going to be that penalty. If he leaves pit lane, he will get away with murder, but I'm not sure that he will get away with it. And he had to go around the outside of Filarski, and he's being held. That is absolutely brutal for the 44.
Oh, man.
Well, now the focus shifts to Shane Terrian, who continues to lap this race. This puts, I think, the race firmly in control of Welker and maybe Chad Simpson, who they're running nose to tail right now. I think Simpson's got a lap or two older tires, so Welker is the favorite now. Shane Terrian going to try the overcut strategy, but is he aware of what's happened to Tyler Hensley? That will change when he hits pit lane, because he's not fighting the 44 anymore. He's fighting the 76, and he's running out of time.
Yeah, if you're the 83, you have to come in now, because this is going to definitely help you in the long run with those few extra laps in his tires. It's a little bit, it's probably 27 laps, 28 laps on this last stint here. So the shorter run those tires are on is quicker. You can be quicker and more aggressive with how aggressive you want to be.
Mitch Welker has won in the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series before. I think it was Daytona last season was the last time he had found his way to victory lane. He might have had one other one in the A season, but he has been...
Martinsville.
But he has been winless this time around. And again, he sits in 12th, so he is really... going to be an issue. I think if he wins this race, if he wins this race, he'll be good. But again, as it stands, I think Welker is in a really good spot to add to his win column this time around. It'll be 25 to go here shortly. Shane Terrian still out on the racetrack.
He's coming in.
Coming in.
Oh, that was close. Oh, man.
A nice entry here. And so it all comes down to, is 25 laps enough time to run down whatever deficit you built? So my argument for saying no is because I don't think the differential is that insane between new and old tires. It's certainly significant. I don't think it's 3-4 seconds a lap. That's typically when overcut strategies work. I still think Welker is in position to win this.
Well, it depends where the 76 exits. That 83 has to be rolling right now to try to get on pit road, or get off pit road as the leader. He was just in front of the 76 car as he came down. That's definitely going to hand it over to the 76. No competition.
So Welker already blows on by at 185 miles an hour. Terrian will leave pit lane. 25 to go. I just don't think he can make up that ground. But let's not say never. I think, he's going to be buried. He's got so much traffic to work through. He's going to have to pass Finney and Daytona again, Colin Fambro again. Too much, I think. Bronson Stafford going to come hit pit lane, and that will turn the lead over to Christopher Matthews.
And a caution would change everything right now, because that's what these guys are banking on. These front four, they are really banking on a caution right now. And this would really help the 61, because he'd still be on the lead lap, and he'd have the freshest tires. But that 61 car, he pits now, and that hands it over to the top three. Or Roberts in second right now. Great run for that number 17 car.
Well, Welker better hope that this race goes green all the way to the checkers. If the caution comes out, all bets are off. If the race goes green, this is his to lose. And that would be a very well-timed win for his 2020B career here. So as he comes out of turn number 4, Casey Lakatos will hit pit lane. That will turn over third to the 76. Now just David Mott Jr. and Christopher Matthews, who I assume will intend to run this out of fuel and hope says a yellow, as like you mentioned.
Yeah, and if Nick Delicato starts count for his final, making the postseason, I'm pretty sure that would put the 11 or the 76 as the final seed in the postseason, because that would be your 2 winner slots. Yep. It would be the 76 and the number 74. But I'm not sure if they do count for the 74. We're going to have to try
I don't think they do. I think we discussed this earlier. The 74 not starting at Road America was not considered a start because he didn't actually start. You just showing up to the server is not enough to get you that points value. You have to start the green flag and be out there on the racetrack. So I don't think that'll count, which will put the 76 in a pretty safe spot. But let's just wait for the points scenario until the end of the race. We'll let it all happen first, as the last thing I want to do is say something wrong. So Welker will continue to lead this race by 1.6 over Chad Simpson. Shane Terrian is a long ways back. It'll be about 5 or 6 seconds by the time it cycles. So he's got a lot of work to do.
That 42 is looking pretty stout, so I wouldn't say, this is over yet, because he just got by the 17 car, who pitted later than the 42. So that 42 is certainly...
Yeah, they came out, though, nose to tail. Simpson had pit a lap prior to Welker, and he's been running 0.2 slower. So I'm not sure that the 42 and 76 will see much of each other for the rest of the race unless we have a caution. I think Welker is the quicker car at the moment.
Alrighty then. So then the... If this doesn't show the strength of the 76 car, he's about to take the lead back away from the 92 without the 92 pitting. So if that doesn't show you how quick the 76 car is, and the fact if you can run back down the leader and pass them before they pit after playing the long haul strategy, that's really impressive.
Colin Fambro and Vinny Dacuna fighting for 8th. This will cycle to be 7th. Actually make that 6th, as Christopher Matthews and David Mott Jr. will have to hit pit lane before the end of this race. This time by will be 20 laps to go from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Matthews and Mott still need to hit pit lane.
Yeah, these two have to pit, so they're really banking on this long haul strategy as they're 3 wide on the front stretch. 9 hits the wall a little bit as Hagen Pistorius smacked the wall there, but they're side by side, not for position here. The 44 hoping it was, but the 83 car is going to blow right by him.
Yeah, Hensley again now a lap down after receiving a penalty for the unsafe pit entry a little bit earlier. Disastrous for his race. He had led the most laps of anyone here with 38. And unfortunately just missing the pit entry cone, having to sweep around Calvin Filarski as he came to pit lane. Conveniently enough, they're now both 16th and 17th right next to each other, so it didn't really work out for Hensley very well.
Absolutely, and talk about talk about the, illustrating strategy. It's 6 seconds between the 76 and the 83 car, and that really shows. That's 2 laps, 2 or 3 laps, but that really shows you how much an undercut versus an overcut can really play into this thing, as he only has 19 laps left. I don't think that 83 can reel him in without a caution.
So here's my only concern. Let's have a look at the lap times here. Shane Terrien, 4/10 faster than Mitch Welker last time. Make it 6/10 faster. That's my only concern. Is I didn't expect the difference between their lap times to be this much. And that 6 seconds will drop very quickly if he's eaten a half a second a lap. So as much as I was willing to give it to Welker earlier, looking at the data now, I'm not so confident.
Yeah, and that's definitely a huge deficit for that 83 car to cut into that 76, and he's been so close. How big would it be for this 83 car to snag his first win in the regular season finale?
And both of these drivers going for their first win. We would have a first-time winner this season if either the 76 or 83 car won. Now, keep in mind that Terrien still has to pass Chad Simpson, so that will slow him down just a little bit, but Mitch Welker will have to deal with some traffic as well, as right up the road you see Christopher Matthews in that 92. He is currently the race leader as he's going to peel off the pit lane, and this will turn the lead over to Mitch Welker with 16 laps to go.
4.7 seconds is the gap, and he's catching him quickly. That 42 car is only 2.5 back, so if that 83 car can make quick work and catch that 42 and pass him, it's pretty much the 83's race to lose.
Oh, man. So as it stands, he would only need about 8 laps to get there, maybe 9 laps to get there. So I don't like this for the 76, but again, getting there's one thing, passing is a whole other. We always discuss that as being a topic. So 2.6 back to Simpson and a farther 1.7 back to Shane Terrien. 15 laps to go, and Welker is going to feel like this is 50. It's not going to go very quickly.
Yeah, he's going to be remembering every second of these last 15 laps if he can hold on to it, and his heart is pounding, because if he gets a caution, that's pretty much it for him, as he'll be re-racked and restacked with that 76-42, 83-17-8. Those guys are hungry for wins, but no one is more hungry than Mitch Welker. After having a really great season last year, it hasn't been as good this year, and he's trying to get his first win of the year.
So one thing we didn't factor is that Shane Terrien was lapping about a half a second quicker, but his tires will fall off the same cliff that everyone else's did. That time by was nearly a 32-second lap, so he's still catching about 0.4 a second a lap, but the advantage is dwindling. Not quickly, but faster than maybe we had expected. So still not over. It's 3.7 now between Terrien. He's almost in the fence at the exit of turn 2. He's pushing, and Welker is too, trying to drive away.
Yeah, if you're Mitch Welker, this is not a time to hang back and chill out, because this 76, he has to get as much time on that 83 as he can. 3/10, 4/10 a lap, that's nothing small. So while he may be using up his tires, that 83 has to make quick work, and that 76 knows it.
So at 4/10 a lap with 13 laps to go, I'm still feeling pretty good that Terrien will be able to get there. It's just a question of will he be able to make the pass, and that's assuming that Terrien's pace does not drop at all compared to Welker. 12 laps to go. They're taking off, and while Shane Terrien has eaten that lead some more, it's not under 3 seconds just yet. It will be probably next time by, but oh boy, it's getting tight.
Yeah, it's getting really tight indeed with that 76, as he's really all the way back on the back bumper of that 25. That's definitely not going to help that 76 one bit. It's only 3 seconds, 3.2 seconds is the gap between Mitch Welker, and he has a little bit of lap traffic ahead. That 24 car is just up the road.
This time by 11 laps to go. You can count them. I'm sure Welker's got them tattooed on the inside of his brain every single time he comes on through. He's looking down at the F box. Will Roberts and Michael Stroll, they've just traded spots. Will Roberts inside the top 5, 4th place right now as it stands. Although I think, he can go to the end of the race, so he's in good position for a top 5. Although Stroll, I think, might be going after it too.
Yeah, this 17 car, it's been pretty much a season to forget for Will Roberts, so top 5 to cap off the regular season. While it may not be a chase run, it'll definitely be a really good result to have.
Shane Terrien can see the teal car of Mitch Welker out up front. He can also see the red and blue 42 car of Chad Simpson. And this is now a battle for second with 10 laps to go. At 3/10 a lap, 3 seconds back, Terrien will just get there. He will not pass Welker if he only beats him at 3/10 a lap. That time it was only 2. His advantage is quickly shrinking on that 76 car.
And Mitch Welker is probably thinking that 42 is his best friend, but here comes the 83. He's going to dive to the inside here. He has to make the pass happen now. If that 42 pinches, it's pretty much all over for that 83, but he's not going to pinch. That 83 is going to clear him right off the corner. That's huge for Shane Terrian.
Big pass there. 9 laps to go. The countdown is starting to the end of the Atlanta race, heading off into the Fuel Finals next week at Lucas Oil Raceway Park. That time by, Terrian was only 0.08 of a second quicker. 2.8 seconds is the gap. Welker is up the road and 8 laps away as he comes to the line. 8 laps away from his first win on the season, but so is Terrian for that matter, and still some lap traffic to negotiate here.
Yeah, one car that's going to be really tough for that 76 to pass is the 24 of Thomas Bressy, probably a favorite earlier in the race. He's probably not going to make it easier on the 76 here, but Thomas Bressy, he could probably play his little bit of a Ryan Newman card to try to get this 83 to somewhat catch him, and he doesn't want to go another lap down. He wants to hang on to this 19th place spot.
I think that Bressy's not going to fight the 76. I think he wants the 76 to win. You don't want the 83, the points leader, who he's battling directly in the points, to grab some more bonus points. I don't think that's a great strategy either. So if I'm the 24, I think more about the greater goal here. It's not to hold up the race leader. It's not to cause a disturbance. It's who's the driver I'm fighting in the points. That'd be Shane Terrian. I'd say the 24 should get out of the way.
You don't really want to weaken Mitch Welker, though, because once he gets hot, he can go with a lot of good races. He can run, second, third, fourth. I mean, we saw last season, he put together a lot of consistent races. You don't want to awaken Mitch Welker once he's been on a slump.
Now 7 laps to go. The gap is 2.6. That advantage has quickly dwindled, and Welker and Terrian are now on fairly equal tires. Remember, the 83 burned up his stuff in the previous run. The 76 did not. So I think the advantage is going to swing back to Welker. He might be able to hold on with 6 to go here from Atlanta.
Yeah, that's a little bit too much of a gap for that 83 to reel in, but you never know. Maybe with one bad lap from that 76, that can bring him right back into the fray. He kind of misses the corner a little bit there, and he has to bring it all the way down. That's a pretty late apex for that number 83, or for that 76. We're going to see if the 83 can capitalize.
Off into turn number 3. 2.6 is still the gap as they head off into the corner. This time by will be 5 laps to go for the race leader. No other major battles on the racetrack. Welker out front from Shane Terrian. Now the gap has gone to 2.7 seconds.
Yeah, and the 76 is pulling away on that 83 car, so he's been running quicker. So it's pretty much going to hand this race over to Mitch Welker, but don't call it over yet. You never know if a caution comes out, or you never know if the 83 can mount one last late charge on that 76 car.
Christian Gritzko, Finney Dacuna, they found themselves around each other all night long. This is the battle for 8th place. I think Gritzko running a hair faster than Dacuna at this point.
As you can see, that 91 has a little bit of better center speed and a little bit of better exit.
Oh, no! Hold on to it, buddy. Woohoo, boy!
That could have been huge for this race, but that 94 hangs on to it, and the 91 lets him keep the spot. So Finney and Dacuna is going to settle right in front of Christian Gritzko.
Yeah, Welker has now started running faster laps than Shane Terrian, so the battle has swung the other way. 3 laps to go, and this is the battle I'm keeping my eyes on here. But again, I think Gritzko might see up the road, see that his teammate is leading this, and might be very careful with the 94. You do not want to be a teammate that ends up causing the caution that would take the 76 out of a winning scenario.
Oh, that would definitely be an awkward team meeting afterwards to say, hey, what went wrong?
You went wrong.
But that 91's going to let the 94 keep it. He doesn't want to lose a spot necessarily, but, he's just going to be a little careful until the white flag at least.
Next time by will be 2 to go, 3 miles at Atlanta. And for Mitch Welker, it has certainly not been the best season ever. Looking back at his results, his last finishes going back to the start of the season: 18th, 11th, 20th, a 4th at New Hampshire, 28th, 5th at Iowa, 29th, 10th, and 24th. So he's only had a handful of results that I'm sure he's really happy with. 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s in 9 starts. So really only a third of his starts have been fruitful, but tonight will be the most fruitful of all as we hit 2 to go.
Yeah, those stats are nowhere near where he was last season, but now he's coming back into his old form, Mitch Welker, as he's going through turn 3 and 4. He's going to come and take the white flag this time, one more lap for the 76. Can he get there? This is going to be the longest 50 feet for Mitch Welker, and he's going to get there.
White flag at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Mitch Welker started off the season with a wreck at Daytona. Then he went off to the next race and didn't have a great finish there either. Then he went off to the next one, crashed at Watkins Glen. 5th place at Iowa, 28th, 4th, 20th, 11th, 18th. Today with Caribou Coffee, on the side of that car. It's a wake-up call for everybody else. Mitch Welker will make it to the Fuel Finals, and he will be certainly a championship competitor. Mitch Welker will win at Atlanta out of turn number 4. He gets it done in Georgia. Johnson Stafford, Michael Stroll battling for 5th place. Colin Fambro just behind. He'll come home in 7th. And Finney and Dacuna will get passed by Gritzko here in the closing moments of this one. And Dacuna will bring home a top 10 result in 9th place. Casey Shue in 10th. And Thomas Bresci, a 19th place result. Certainly not a championship winning night for him. He had the pace, just not the luck. He will end up in 19th as we go back to find Mitch Welker getting ready to celebrate.
I'm kind of scratching my head at the 91's car's state. I didn't remember seeing that damage on the left front, or the right front, rather, and I saw a little bit of a ding on the rear of that 94 car. But this 76 is going to burn it down on the front stretch here at Atlanta. This is one that he's been waiting a long time to do, and Mitch Welker is going to burn it down.
Started in 9th, ended up finishing in 4th. He led 17 laps, and those 17 laps were the final 17. And just kept his head in it, kept his foot in it the whole race, and just outran Shane Terry. And Terry had better tires, and he burned him up. Welker will take a victory lap, and that's got to feel really good.
Yeah, he's probably having a nice sigh of relief. Finally winning his first race of the year. And Mitch Welker probably going to solidify himself as one of the championship favorites. He will be seed number 11 or number 12. We're going to find out soon from the administration.
Welker will roll backwards around the racetrack. We'll talk to him here in just a few minutes, along with Shane Terry and Chad Simpson. Other drivers of note, Bronson Stafford with a 5th place. Talked about Gritzko and Dacuna, 8th and 9th. Casey Lakatos just outside the top 10 with an 11th place result. Of course, Riley Thompson, Thomas Bresci, Travis McQuistion, a couple of our other front runners, they did not have such good nights, and they will end things a little bit farther down the order. We'll be back in just a few minutes for interviews. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Back live at SimTV for the Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series, the final race of the regular season. Talking now with our 4th place finisher, Will Roberts, brings it from 22nd to 4th to finish out the night. A top 5 run for the Hardee's number 17 Mustang. Will, tonight was an interesting race from a couple different perspectives. A little bit of strategy going on there towards the end, some green flag runs, but a top 5, got to be pretty happy with the result tonight.
I mean, I'm happy that I finally notched top 5. It's the first one all season, but at the same time, I'm honestly kind of disappointed because that was, to me, that's the closest I feel like I've ever gotten to winning one of these things. We had one more caution. I think I could have parked it.
So a 4th place run tonight. We head to Lucas Oil Raceway Park next week. That's an interesting one we don't really run here a whole lot with these cars. Your thoughts, expectations, and your chance of maybe going out there and repeating a top 5 run out there?
It's short track. Those are always some of my best. So I'm feeling strong. I feel like it's going to be a good one. We might see something pretty chaotic, but I think we're more likely to see something that's actually kind of tame, just with the way that track races.
Well, Will Roberts with a top 5 run today. Will, thanks for talking to us, and congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Moving on now to Chad Simpson, who brought the number 42 car home in 3rd place. Had a strategy play there at the end, Chad. Didn't quite work out for a win, but a top 5 run. Got to be pretty happy with that. I'm not sure we got Chad Simpson. We'll check back in with him a little bit. Talk to second place Shane Terrian, points leader, second place run tonight. Strategy play there didn't quite pay off for you. A couple seconds back, had the run going, but just couldn't finish it off. Shane, tell us about your night and trying to get back to Mitch Welker there in those closing laps.
I thought I was gonna do worse. This track was tight. I think iRacing broke Atlanta because that was way too tight. But yeah, I think I screwed up trying to catch Hensley there. I used my tires up, allowed Mitch to catch me. So I think if I would have just stuck with my long run pace that I had, I would have probably been able to catch Mitch on that same strategy. But you know, I'll take second. Gain more points on Bressie for his misfortunate iRacing crashing, so I'll take it.
Well, at this point in the season, we're heading into our fuel finals. Only a couple rounds left in the season. Is it weighing on you that you haven't won a race? How much is that affecting you? And do you think you can get one before the end of the season? And do you think you need to win a race to win the championship here?
I think I can get one, but it's not really hindering on me. I've won a championship in the past with no wins, just consistency. So I've got that out of the way, so I don't have to worry about thinking I have to win. Just gotta be consistent. So I think I can do it. I've shown that I could, but just strategy didn't play out today.
Well, Shane Terrian, second place tonight, points leader heading into the fuel finals. Congratulations and good luck to you in the finals this season. We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you.
Try to get Chad Simpson again. Hey, Chad, you got a copy? No Chad Simpson, it looks like, tonight. We'll talk to Mitch Welker. First win of the Fuel 2020B season, and at a very opportunistic time. Mitch, you led 17 laps. It was only the final 17 that you led, but the strategy play worked out, and you outran the 83. Congratulations on your win. Walk us through the last 30 or so laps, what was going through your mind, and how much were your eyes glued to that mirror in the closing laps?
Well, we finally got a green flag cycle out of this thing. So I was just kind of watching, deciding when to pit. You decide whether undercuts or whether we get you got to think about whether you get the fuel pit cycle caution trademark. But I just decided to go for it, roll the dice, pit lap 100, I think. Yeah, and just kind of made sure that I pulled away from Chad and got by Will as soon as I could. Will undercut a big amount. I was really surprised, actually. But I got by him and just drove smooth and hard. And I think Tyler hit the entry cone to the pit lane, because he was gone. He's just missing. So, yeah, it made it a little bit easier in that case. But, yeah, I thought I was going to burn my tires up running as hard as I was, but it ended up working out, and I just kept pulling away from Chad.
Yeah, you're right. It was the 44 with the unsafe pit entry just by nicking the cone there on the entry to pit lane, having to go around a lap car there on entry. Mitch, you had the pace, though. I think even without him making that mistake, you were running people down late in the run. So how much of that was tire management, and how worried were you about tires on this hot and slick racetrack with the setup we had here tonight?
Every time you come to Atlanta, you're worried about tires. So I go in, obviously, thinking even like lap 1 of the run, saving those tires. That's why you saw, people coming by me. I would just let them by. I don't want to race people. I want to save my tires, expecting a long run. And the longest run was, I think, the final run, or whether the run before it. So it never really played too much into that. But yeah, definitely tires were a huge part, and tire saving was what let me keep my pace later in the run.
So how much of this is a confidence booster heading into the finals? We've got only a couple rounds left in the season. We had a Lucas Oil Raceway Park, and then we head off to Michigan, Bristol, and Texas. Thoughts on carrying this momentum into the finals, and what are your thoughts on maybe taking it all the way to the end?
We'll see about it. It's obviously a really big confidence boost that I can, finish one of these out. Finally didn't make any mistakes. Good selection of tracks coming up, and I'll just see what I can make of it. I tend to do well on tracks that I have never run before. Rockingham, I don't know if you remember last season, I finished like second after I'd never run there before. So I've never been to Lucas Oil. That could be a good opportunity, I guess. I like New Texas. That'll be good. Bristol's probably going to suck, but we'll see.
Well, Bristol's always a challenging one, Mitch. Hey, congratulations.
Yeah.
Any further thoughts before we boot you and head off to Lucas Oil Raceway Park in a week?
I guess yeah, this win just means a whole lot to me because I used to live nearest to this. This was my nearest NASCAR track for like 10 years of my life. I went to the 2012 race here under the lights, and that was a really great experience. I'll never forget. So it's kind of a second home win. Means a fair bit to me to finally finish one off here.
Finally got one done, and he'll head into the Fuel Finals. Mitch, congratulations. We'll see you next week at Lucas Oil.
Thank you. See you then.
Try Chad Simpson one more time. Hey, Chad, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
I got you now, Chad. Well, third place tonight. Strategy play didn't quite work out. You ended up finishing third. Pretty good night for you, though, regardless, and you're in the finals. So your thoughts on tonight and moving forward into the finals?
Yeah, I was a little surprised at my pace. Atlanta, with that cheese grater surface, is typically a little iffy for me, but I knew coming to the end there, I didn't really have anything for Shane, but at the end, he was falling off pretty good and give me 5 more laps, and I'm in second, so I can't complain about third.
Well, third place is certainly good. We head to Lucas Oil Raceway Park next week, and then we head to Michigan, Bristol, Texas, and we'll wrap things up. We'll wrap things up at Texas. So your thoughts on those upcoming tracks, and do you think it can add to the wins column before the end of the season?
That's going to be interesting. Lucas Oil will be survival. Other than that, Michigan is good. Texas is good. Bristol, again, survival. It's an interesting mix on the schedule. So we'll see how everybody does. Not just me. I think a lot of people are going to kind of need some luck here.
Chad, congratulations on a top 5 run. We'll see you next week at the short track.
Yeah, thanks. And thank you to VRS and Satellite Racing.
All right. Well, Chad Simpson will end his day here in third. Chad, we'll see you next week. Thanks for talking.
Okay.
Well, all right, our playoff field here for the end of the season. It will be Shane Terrian atop the board, then Thomas Bressi, Michael Stroll, Chad Simpson, Brian Chambliss, Travis McQuistion, Riley Thompson, Tyler Hensley, Will Roberts, Mitch Welker, Casey Lakatos, and Colin Fambro will get in for the Fuel Finals. Before we dip off here tonight, we got Finian DeCuna joining us. First of all, Finian, got wild there at the end. Congrats on a top 10 run, but your thoughts on the finals going forward? It's been a pretty interesting season. We head to Lucas Oil Raceway Park next week. That's a weird one.
Yeah, it definitely is, and there's a lot of concern about going to that particular track because it's going to be a lot of slinging around the outside. I think it's going to be a lot of beating and a lot of banging. I think it's going to be a fantastic place to open up the Fuel Finals, Fuel Playoffs, and see who's got what it takes to take the championship.
Mitch Welker brings home his first win of the season, puts himself in the finals. We'll see you next week at Lucas Oil Raceway Park. You're watching Sim TV. We'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for the DC Region Virtual Racing League from Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas.